start my recording. So welcome everybody. And so if you prefer not to have your video on, that's fine. But if you'd like to have it, that's fine too. And these recordings are available as when they do work. These are available on Body Kinetics website. And this class is a paid, they pay me to teach as an instructor for Body Kinetics Health Club. And we have a variety of classes that are still online, that are happening live. And right now, up until today, we've been offering this for free, which has been so generous of Body Kinetics. All these classes have been paid to the teachers and free to all. And starting in August, they have made the decision to move onto their paid platform so that the business can stay healthy and we can serve our members even better. So we're going to be doing some live stream right from the studios as we are able to open, and we're going to be creating some really cool content for when we eventually can get back in. We'll be able to do both in-person and live streams. So I really hope that you consider being a paid member at Body Kinetics. And they are a wonderful family-owned organization. So these Wednesday classes won't be free anymore. So if you've been coming for free, and giving me donations, thank you so much. And I'll have other offerings that people can join me for that. But this Body Kinetics will draw into our paid community. And I hope some of you will continue to be members at Body Kinetics or bring more people in, because it's a really great gym. It's very, very wonderful, family owned. All right, so that being said, we are here together to practice, and I think that it would be really helpful if we had some time to release, and then we can do some movement that will renew our energy. So with that, we're going to start seated, but then move to our backs. And it would be helpful to have a strap, a couple of blocks, and a strap could be a belt, a towel, a t-shirt, whatever you can use to help you reach your foot. And we're going to do some things seated, then lying on our backs, and then we'll come up and move and get our energy renewed. Okay, but first we're going to spend some time to release. Because I don't know about you, but I sure do feel myself getting tighter and tighter when I pay attention to the news and all of that. Okay, so with that, let's take our seats. Good. And finding your comfortable seat, you can see I have my bolster and I even have the blanket to pad my ankles. It feels really comfortable that way for me. And as you settle into your seat, have your legs be grounded. And by that, I mean the ground is supporting your legs. So for me, when I cross my shins, my legs just relax down. But for some people, there's holding here in the hip flexors that lifts the knees up. So if that is your situation, you could sit up higher on a higher bolster or pillow, or you could take your block and put it somewhere under the part that is floating up, and then see if it can just rest down. So like if my hips were like that, that would be helpful for me. But really, I'd rather sit up higher if I could, to see if I can get the legs to relax down. So find your comfortable seat. Walk your sitting bones back and apart, even widening the base more, taking your hands under your flesh and muscles and moving them out to the side so that your sit bones are more grounded and a little wider at the base. Good. All right. And then we have our spinal column, which has curves. Yeah. So find those natural curves. Good. Bring your mind right to the base of your sternum. There's a little bone there. It sticks out from the bottom of the sternum, and it's called the xiphoid process. And it's pointy, like our tailbones are pointy. So if you could visualize the base of your sternum, the xiphoid process, and the tailbone, and just point them gently toward the center of your body. So you're not hunching over and you're not tucking your tail, but there's just this awareness of the xiphoid process curling in toward your heart and the tailbone curling in toward the earth. Good. The xiphoid process is a bony landmark, but it is a fragile spot there. So just like we don't want to push on our tailbone or land on our tailbone, you don't want to push on the xiphoid process or put too much pressure on it. It's a bony little tiny protrusion at the base of the sternum. So as you connect these two bony landmarks, the xiphoid process and the tail, see if you can just soften the inner hip, the frontal hips where the hip flexors are, and soften the jaw and the kind of the sides of your lips. Good. And if you're not getting that release through your hips, put the weight of your legs down even more and lift the belly up a bit. And soften right in between your jaws, your upper and lower bones of the jaw, and soften in the inner line, the groin line there, where your hip flexors move through the pelvis. Take a few more breaths as we release tension around the jaw. Let's even take 2 fingers on each hand up to the jaw where the 2 parts of the jaw meet, and really gently make tiny little circles. Yeah, good. Again, point the xiphoid process and the tailbone toward the center of the body and lift up above that connection. Relax your jaw and also at the inner thighs, inner groins, inner hip area. And take your hands up to your temples and just give a little rub there. Sitting up tall through your crown. Practicing release before we renew. Relax the jaw, the bottom jaw away from the top jaw. Good. And then take your hands above your skull and find the very, very top of the skull. And then just walk your fingers back a little bit toward the crown and gather a few strands of hair or a little bit of skin up and lift up through your crown. Yes, lifting up through the back of the skull. Drape the shoulder blades down your back and then send the arms up to the sky. Good. Keep the legs relaxed, the jaw relaxed, straightening the arms as much as you can. And bending your elbows all the way down towards your waist, xiphoid process and tailbone still pointing toward your center. Now find the tips of the shoulder blades and squeeze them together. Open the wings and then find the elbows, tips of the shoulder blades hugging in. Open that up again. And one more time, tips of the shoulder blades hugging in. Good. And raise your arms up. Big breath. Reach up from your triceps and bend your elbows. Put your hands on your upper trapezius muscles behind your neck there. So your thumbs are pointing down in front. And then dig your thumbs in and massage your upper trapezius with your fingers. Or you can just release the thumbs actually and really dig in with your fingers there. And some people will feel like, oh my gosh, I can't even get my fingers in there. So we're also palpating, feeling where we're at right now. Some people have low muscle tone. They don't really feel much muscle. and some have a medium tone. Walk your fingers around there and then bring your elbows as close as you can. Hold as low as you can on your shoulder blades and lift the elbows high, stretching from the tip of the shoulder blade all the way up through your elbow. Big breath. You can even hug your arms against your head to support you. Good. And then interlace your fingers and your hands are on the base of your skull. So I'm going to bring my hands in front. You put your wrist right at the base of your skull and your thumbs are down along the two sides of your neck there. Good, and then you can use your thumbs to massage into the neck. Relax your jaw, relax the hips, maybe even swallow. Good, and then use the heels of your hands to gently lift the skull. You're not trying to pop your head off, just giving yourself some gentle tension there. Chin is softly relaxed down, elbows in again. Xiphoid process and tailbone pointing toward each other. Elbows in closer, closer, closer. And then lift the elbows up, stretching from your triceps all the way up. Good, big full breath. Good, and now very gently bowing the head toward the heart, your hands just gently resting on the back of your skull. Let the elbows drop forward and press your head gently into your hands. So this is another way to get some release into the neck. Have a big breath there. Now open your elbows wide, big breath, stick out your tongue, 2 times. Good, 1 more. Bring the elbows together, let your head bow, and then just release your hands down and your head's just very gently bowed. And just let it kind of loll from side to side, just moving your skull a little side to side. And then look down and draw a line side to side with your nose. So you're turning your head gently, your nose going side to side. And then finally back in center. Let's roll all the way up to seated. Roll your shoulder blades back. And feel xiphoid process and tailbone gently meeting each other, pointing to the center line. Good. I'm bringing hands together in front of the heart. And I do know that some of you are not muted yet. I'll take care of that after we make the sound of Om. Why not get to hear each other? Inhale together. Om. Gently bowing head to heart, perhaps to set an intention, has meaning for you. Good. And releasing that, stretch out your legs. Wiggle them out and do meet me on your back. Come down onto your back. Have your strap handy. All right. Okay, coming all the way down onto your back. Now I'm just going to make sure everyone's muted here. And yeah, I know. Okay. All right, should be that everyone's muted now. So that should work better. Okay, so as you lie down onto your back, have your strap handy and just leave it off to the side. You can bend your knees, placing the soles of the feet onto the floor. Move the feet apart, hips width, or even actually let's move the heels out even wider. Point the toes in and lean the knees in toward each other. Good. Now again, level off your pelvis. Yeah, so you're not resting on your low back. You're actually got a little curve into your low back. And then bring your hands to your frontal ribs and trace along the frontal ribs toward each other till you get to the base of the sternum. Be really gentle here. So if you have your index finger on your ribs, you could feel with your middle finger right at the base of the ribs, touch very gently. And you might notice that there's a little bony protrusion there at points. Again, please don't press hard on that. Never roll on a ball like a tennis ball or a racquetball kind of therapy ball. Don't roll on that point. But you can softly massage it with a finger there, just massaging the fascia that helps connect everything together, right? And then take your hands along the ribs and just tracing out to the side ribs and breathing into your side ribs there. Good, and then lay your arms out to the side. Could be in the T configuration or maybe a little lower alongside your body. Tuck your shoulder blades under. Good, and then have a sense of the tail lengthening away from your back waist toward your heels. And the xiphoid process, the base of the sternum, just settling down a little bit. Good, now tuck the tips of the shoulder blades under you so that you're lying back onto your shoulders even more. Walk the feet just to hips width now, and the knees are straight up and down. Now we've got this configuration in our core, in our torso. Start to firm your lowest belly by pressing the pelvis down until you feel that your legs are starting to get very light. Okay, now pick up your right foot and then just stomp it down. Left foot, stomp it. Right foot, stomp it. Left foot, stomp it. Keep going. Now try to stabilize your core and really let the leg drop. So you're going to be stomping. I know some of you might live in a place where you don't want to stomp because someone lives beneath you. So do what you can, but see if you can let it drop. This is a way to get release. If you've got one foot, so you're stomping one foot, but maybe you've got your foot on and you can stomp. And this helps to release the hip flexors. So they work when you lift the leg, but then when you stomp, you're releasing. Now, if your body's moving a lot, slow down. When you pick up a leg, before you drop it, firm up the core, then drop. Firm up the core, then drop. So keep going. Good. And notice if your shoulders are hiking up, and get the tips of the shoulder blades back underneath. And then last one, drop the left foot, and then you're done. Just take a few breaths to feel. Pick up your right knee, and this time bring it to your chest. Hug it in, and notice how your low back probably flattens. Push the knee away until your low back can have a curve. Keep it like that. Lay your arms down. So this time, we're adding now, extend your right leg, bend the knee, and stomp. We want to keep our low back from flattening. Bring your left knee in, hug it. Notice how the low back flattens. We don't want to do that. Press the knee away till your low back has the curve. Check your sternum. Level off, xiphoid process pointing to your heart. You've got your core steady. Relax your arms down. Left leg extend. Left knee bend, drop. So now we'll repeat. Don't flatten the low back. Right knee in. Right leg up. Stretch it up and bend and stop. Inhale, right leg in and up. Exhale, knee bend, stomp. Keep going. Or maybe you inhale for the right leg and then you exhale during the left leg movement. That's working for me. Can you hold your core steady as you make these movements? And when you stretch up, fully extend the leg. It might need to be bent, but fully to your capacity. And the next time you do a left foot, then you're done. And then you just pause to feel. You can walk your feet apart a little, lean the knees in to relax. Relax your jaw purposefully. Great. Feet back to hip width. Level off the pelvis, the xiphoid process. This time your right leg's going to slide away from you like someone's pulling your leg. And then you pull back on that slightly. So you feel a big action here as you reach away from your body with your right leg, and you're also suctioning that leg back in. You should feel a nice lengthening along your hip flexor here. And then slide that right leg back. And now left leg. So you're extending, and at the same time you're drawing back on the leg, and this isometric action can help release the psoas, the hip flexor there, and bend the left. And let's try it on the right again. So you're sliding the leg away, and at the same time you're pulling it back. You should feel a nice engagement there. And change sides. Left leg reaching away as best you can, and suctioning that leg back in at the same time, feeling that engagement, and then rest. Bent knees, knees together, feet wide, and arms by your side. Feel. Wonderful. All right, we're moving really nicely right along. Get your strap. I'm getting a message. I'm going to check that message as I get the strap, and you can take the strap onto the ball of your right foot. Taking the strap onto the ball of your right foot, and keep your left knee bent for now. All right, so the left foot is just placed on the floor. Now, remember when we were checking our low back when the knee was hugged in? So bend your knee enough so that you can get the curve into your low back again. Lengthen the tail and draw that xiphoid process just down and in, pointing to your heart. And so that'll engage your core. And now you're keeping this low back configuration. You're keeping the whole core steady as you slowly stretch that left leg away from you, as we just did. So remember that feeling of engagement. You're reaching away and at the same time drawing back on that leg. Put your heel down and maybe even the back of the thigh. And now take the right hip and move it down away from your shoulder. So you almost feel like your right hip, your right waistline opens up a little bit here. And if you want to look on the video to see what I'm doing in my right hip, I'm not exactly sure if you can see. Yeah, there. So here's where the hip is hiking toward my shoulder and my waist is short. And then here I've made a turn in my hip that then opens up the waist. And that's how you want it. You want that. And then you use the strap for something to reach up into. Hold up high enough on the straps that the weight of your elbows helps you have something to push against. Relax your grip, relax your jaw, and super active legs. So the legs are both reaching away at the same time as they're suctioning into your core. You can have your knee bent if that is your max extension in this pose. Have a few more breaths. Move the right thigh bone into the hamstrings as you draw your waistline back. Good. We're staying here for 3. Get lighter and lighter on the straps for 2. Have one more breath. Start to crawl up the straps. 1. At the end of your breath, lift your head toward your leg. You're still maintaining that same core action in the legs. If the back of your head is too heavy, the neck is hurting, just have your hand behind your head. Lift yourself up tall, lifting up toward your leg, lifting from your core. Now keep your left leg down, but act like you're about to lift it. Even more engagement. Take the strap off the foot as you lower the right leg down to the ground and pause. Few breaths there. Wonderful. Bend the knees, feet on the floor. Your low back might momentarily flatten toward the earth. When you're putting the strap onto the left foot, have the ball of the foot on the strap. Extend your leg as fully as it will go. Good. Get the low back curve in there so you're not flattening. You might need to bend your knee. And now right leg slides away in that engagement where you're pressing the heel down, you're reaching the leg away and at the same time suctioning it in. And that suctioning in action might help you also find the way to level your left hip, extending your waist. Yeah, so find that's kind of like an accordion. You turn the left hip away from your shoulder and in that way opening up the accordion on the left side of it. Holding the straps up high enough, you can drop your elbows and your shoulders, tuck your shoulder blades in, point the xiphoid process towards your heart, getting that engagement. Oh, what are your legs doing? If they're shaking, bend the left knee more. Relax the jaw, space between the top and bottom jaw. It's a lot to do. Keep your breath focused, legs are strong. Beautiful, good. On your next breath, exhale all your breath out and you're gonna start to lighten up the load on your hands. You can climb up your strap, lift your head, lift your heart. If this hurts your neck, just hold on to the back of your head. Keep the right leg engaging and then act as if you're gonna lift the right leg. You're not, but you're doing all the effort that it would take to lift it. And then take the strap off your foot and lower down and feel. You can put the strap to the side. Do a little sit up just with your head and look down front body. Are you symmetrically lying on the ground now? Are you turning to one side or the other? Just notice. And line yourself up along the center as best you can. Lay your head back down. Look side to side, loosening up your neck, your jaw, your throat. Good. Now left leg again is reaching away and hugging in. Now bend your right knee so that the foot comes against your inner thigh there or your knee, and the right knee is lying out to the side, kind of like a tree position. Now notice most of us are going to have less space on the right side of the waist, on the back, than on the left. And then do that little hip adjustment where you level your hips and feel a little more sense of balance through the core. Work your left leg strongly like you're about to lift it, but you're not. So we're stabilizing the tree pose. Reach your arms up, tips of the shoulder blades together and reach back behind you. Thumbs might even touch the floor. Notice the core engagement in this modified tree pose. Good, and releasing that. Bring your right knee across your body into a gentle twist. Open up the right waist. Big breath there. That's it, and come back onto your back. Hug the right knee in. You have the flatter low back. Move the knee away. You have the low back curve. And then slide your right leg down next to your left and feel. Great, engage the legs again. So the toes point up, the thighs roll in. Now you stabilize the right leg. You're reaching away as much as you're hugging in. Bend the left knee, let it flow out to the side like the tree pose. Sole of the foot touching the inner leg. Notice how the pelvis kind of tilts more to the left. The low back is more flat on the left. Use that hip movement that we did to help you lengthen through both sides of the waist, and you'll have more core engagement. You'll feel more engagements. You might have to lift your left knee a little bit as you're repositioning. Now take the arms up, hold that lower body action, and reach back. Thumbs might touch the earth. So notice your tailbone reaching away from your back waist, the back waist even over the earth, 2 waistlines long. Point the xiphoid process to your heart. Big breath. Remember this for when we try to balance in our trees. Remember this work in the pelvic core. And lower the arms, relax. Hug the left knee into your chest. And take it into the twist. Left knee across. Breathe big into the left side, especially into your pectoral muscles. And onto the back. Okay, one more time to feel. Stretch it out. All right. How you feeling? Pretty good, huh? Let's move along now. You can roll to the side or roll all the way up to a seated position and then shift onto your hands and knees. Okay. For this next portion, you're going to want to have your blanket or a towel or something, maybe some pillows that you can roll up like this, kind of in a little roll. See that? So I'm going to actually put that more toward the front of my mat, just so I can, I refocus that. I'm going to put that roll back a little bit behind me, and I'm going to tuck my toes, and I'm going to walk so that the heels are up on the roll, but the toes are lower. And then I'm going to push back into a forward fold, and the heels are lifted, so you might need to bend your knees more than usual. And have your blocks or something to stabilize you handy if you need that. And you've got your heels lifted right now. Point your knees forward, release over. Good, make sure you have something to support you. And then slide your heels back so the heels come down to the mat. And now the ball of the foot's up on the bolster, and dig the ball of the foot and the big toes into the bolster or your roll. And you might need to bend your knees quite a lot, as this can go way deep into the hamstrings and the calves. So sensing and feeling there. Try to get inner and outer calf, inner, middle, and outer hamstrings. Press your inner thighs a little wide to help stretch the hamstrings wider, which in turn helps them lengthen. Move your head in a little figure eight circles over the earth, little figure eight. And go around the other direction. Ooh, it's hard for me to draw the opposite. Okay, and now go all the way off the blanket and feel your neutral forward fold. You can move the blanket aside or put it in the middle of the mat if you like it for your knees. All right, and plant yourself right there. Bring your hands to the hips, point your elbows up to the sky and rise up. When you come up, the elbows are pointing back. Point the tips of the shoulder blades toward each other. The tail and the xiphoid toward each other, and relax the arms down by your side. All right, so can you have those bony landmarks as levels of awareness? So the xiphoid, the base of the sternum, the tail, and the tips of the shoulder blades. We can use that. Okay, inhale, arms forward and up. Exhale, sit your hips back and down. Knees go a little forward toward the ball of the foot. Good. Now, point the tail away from your waist and angle the xiphoid in a bit. Bend your elbows, tips of the shoulder blades on your back. Sit a little deeper. Maybe you look out over the earth. Good. Now, keep the shoulder blades firm on your back as you start to crawl away from your feet onto your hands and feet now. Come onto the balls of the feet and press down through your heels, inner and outer heel. Good. A few breaths here to stretch it out. Lean side to side. Yeah, maybe you want to work into the backs of the legs a little more. You can bend one knee and then the other. Press away from your hands. Yes, the hands are going to press forward a bit and you're going to press back. Good, but you don't want your hands to slip away, so dig your fingers into the earth. Good, as you press your hands away from your feet, dig into the backs of your legs, inner outer heel, inner outer heel. Full breath, everybody. Great, take a walk with your hands again, back towards your feet. Uttanasana, forward fold. Hands to the hips, elbows to the sky, rise up. Elbows together, tips of the shoulder blades together, arms by your side. Inhale, arms up, sit down chair. 2 more breaths. 1 more here. Bend the elbows, tips of the shoulder blades, sit a little deeper. Lift the belly off your thighs. Crawl to downward dog. Keep the firming shoulder blade awareness. Big toes together, come forward in a plank. Inhale, glide the tips of the shoulder blades away from your ears. Good, in plank, point tail to the earth and the xiphoid process to your heart. 1 more breath. Exhale, downward face dog. Stretch, good. All right, wonderful. Walk to the front of the mat this time, passing your blanket if it's there, and then settling into your forward fold. Perhaps straightening the legs by strengthening the muscles. Use the strength in your muscles to straighten your legs. Hands to the hips, push down, rise up, elbows lift, elbows hug back, arms by the side. 1 more time, inhale here, exhale, sit back in the chair. So the xiphoid process angles in, but I don't collapse the chest. Bend the elbows. Find the tips of the shoulder blades on your back and breathe here for 3, 4, 2. Last breath, 1. Fold forward here. Step your right foot back into a lunge. Separate your feet so your hips distance apart. Before we come up, you remember how we made the left side of our waist long? You can see on the video here, I'm turning my left hip so that it moves away from my shoulder and my tailbone can point to the earth. Point the tailbone to the earth, hands to the hips, elbows go up and back. Tailbone to the earth, xiphoid process to the heart, elbows back. Lots of breath. Arms to the sky, big full breath, stretching up. Perhaps bend both knees a little deeper. Point the tail straight down. Make those little micro adjustments. Hands to the heart. Reach the arms forward. Open the arm, left arm to the side. Perhaps turn to the left. Yes, bring the hands to the heart. Prayer twist, right elbow to left outer knee. Keep cutting your left hip back. Stay long through the left side. And if the balance is there, drop your right shoulder slightly while maintaining that left hip long to the earth. Exhale, bring your hands down and step backwards into your downward face dog. 2 feet together, shoulder blades pointing to the heart, xiphoid pointing to the heart. Come forward in a plank. Hold that plank. Work your legs more. So even if you could hold yourself up with your arm strength and with your core strength, your legs. Remember how you were reaching them away and pulling them in at the same time? Oh yeah, feel that strength. Downward face dog, walk, step, or perhaps jump to the front. Bow forward. Feel the length through your legs and strengthen the legs to help lengthen them. Hands to the hips, elbows up, rise up. Arms by your side, tips of the shoulder blades still hugging together. Breathe there before we move on. The xiphoid points to the heart. The tailbone points to the earth. Your heart has ground from which it can open. Another breath or 2. Good, and then take the arms to the sky, and you know what to do, chair. Uttanasana. Hands come down, left foot back. And we're setting up the high lunge, feet or hips width. Yeah, you can always have the back heel grounded. Hands to the hips, press down, lift from your elbows to come up. And then you point the tail, you point the tip of your sternum, the xiphoid. You point the tips of the shoulder blades. Keep that right waist long. Send the arms up. Find your breath, everybody. Maybe bend your knees a little bit. See what happens when you do so. Hands to the heart. Reach the arms forward. Open the right arm to the side. Like a big open gate. Yes, full of breath. Hands to the heart, prayer twist. Firm up your legs. Firm the muscles to support you. Cut your right hip back so your right side waist is very long. Lean into the left shoulder just a bit. Tack your right hip to earth. Tailbone to earth, xiphoid to heart. Breathe open, tips of the shoulder blades opening you up. Bring the hands down, step into downward face dog. Holy moly, how are you doing? From downward dog, big toes together. We're going through chaturanga to the ground, everybody. Come forward in a plank. Get those points pointing to where they're supposed to go as you lower. And then curl up into cobra or upward dog. The legs are reaching away and suctioning in. And downward face dog. Hey. Okay, let's try this. Walk your feet a little bit forward so you have a little less space between the feet and the hands. Raise the right leg up, bend your knee, and spin your right hip up over the left. Relax the center of your jaw and spin the right foot on the ankle. Lower the left heel. Beautiful. Bring this right knee forward towards your wrist and land on your shin. Okay, you can move your left heel more towards your, your right heel, the one under you, over toward the left a bit. You can stay up very high in this pose. You can come down on your forearms in this pose, and you can slide your leg back if you want to lower your hips. Be careful. I should say careful, full of care for your right knee. Don't put any pain in it. You can do this on your back too. Cut your right hip back. Oh yeah. Keep your breath flowing. If this hurts your knee in any way, please go on your back, crossing the right ankle to the left thigh. Hug the legs close. Eye of the needle. Good. Come up a little bit away from the earth. If you're lying on the earth, lift your belly up and lay it down over your right thigh even more. And then come down. Tuck your left toes under, lift the left heel, whether you're on your hands or your head is down. Sorry, lift the left knee. I misspoke there. And then lower that knee, and you can lower your head if you lifted it. You can point your left toes if that feels good. Spread the toes on the ground. Great. Take your hands to the earth so you can push out onto your hands and knees or right to downward face dog. Take a few moments there. If you like to flow here, feel free to do that, moving at your own pace, full of breath. We'll meet here in the Adho Mukha, the downward facing dog. Make the tips of the shoulder blades towards your heart. Take the left leg up, bend the knee, and spin your hip to the sky. Good, spinning open. Notice how you probably lift high, push down through the right heel, circle the left foot on the ankle. Relax your jaw, your throat. Pull the work out of the upper triceps and put the tips of the shoulder blades on your back. So you're engaging the lower trapezius while you relax the upper traps. Find that difference. And then take this left knee towards your left wrist. You can keep the heel center, or if it feels okay on your knee, bring your heel more towards your right groin. You can stay up high, putting your forearms down, getting some action into the back hip. Or if it works on your left knee, your hip, you can move your right leg back and lower your pelvis evenly.
So you might notice sometimes we lean to one side or the other. Level your pelvis. Left side of the waist opening like an accordion. Tuck your back toes under. If you've been down for a couple of breaths, lift up, lift your belly up and over the left thigh a little more, and then lie down on it again. Or keep up on your forearms or on your hands. Let's have a few more breaths. Level the pelvis. Relax the jaw, the face, the throat. Couple more breaths.
Good, coming back up onto the hands, yeah? So how do you get out of this? Tuck the back toes, lift the back knee.
Maybe you lie down again, feeling that, lifting back leg while still lying over the leg. And then you push away from the earth to get up and out of it, and you're back on your hands and knees or into the downward face dog. In downward dog, take the shoulders away from your ears. So unshrug and get the tips of the shoulder blades to tack onto your back. So you're actively changing the work from upper traps to lower traps. And one more full deep breath here, everybody. And lower down onto your knees. Good. Now I want to get into the upper back right up here just a little more. So we're going to come down onto our elbows here. Take your hands together. You want to make sure your elbows are just shoulder width. Walk your knees back enough so that you have some room. Now here you can see I'm taking my thumbs and I'm pointing toward the base of my neck with my thumbs. And then I'm going to see if I can just move my thumbs a little more kind of toward the middle of my upper back. And then you can walk your knees back a little more and you're going to feel a big stretch in the armpits. And as you press down through your elbows, nudge the tips of the shoulder blades into your back. Then you can take your hands and do that upper shoulder massage again. Checking in, did you soften up there at all? Did you warm up? Did you get some movement? My upper shoulders feel really warm and actually pretty relaxed right now compared to the way they were before. I don't know about you, you can let me know. Okay, then crawl into a traditional child's pose to finish this off. Just relax your arms in any comfortable position, maybe making a pillow for your head. Getting comfortable for a few breaths here. Wonderful.
Thank you, everyone. Please rise just so you can bring your feet around out from under you. All right, we are getting close. Now, do you have that rolled up blanket again? Okay, so it could be something like the rolled up blanket, okay? I'm not even going to roll mine all the way. I'm actually going to leave here. Let's move it there so you can see. I've got the roll and then I've got some blanket and that's going to be for my neck and stuff. Other people, you might use the pranayama bolster. You want something, maybe even a foam roller, though that's a little big for what I'm looking for, but we can make that work. Okay, so if you've got the rolled up blanket or towel or even a pillow, okay, when you come down, you're going to get the tips of the shoulder blades to tack into your back. So you want to kind of walk the tips of the shoulder blades on to that roll, and then you can have your knees bent and lie back over the roll like I'm doing right here. Now, this is a good position for me. You want your arms, you don't want your arms on the roll, you want them beyond the roll. So you can see how I'm lying here and setting up the very gentle back bends. Good, so you're finding that position, it should be comfortable. You can keep your knees bent. Once you've got it, then put your elbows up on the roller and see, or the foam, or the blanket, whatever you have, bolster. And as you put your elbows on it, tuck your shoulder blades under you again, and then reach your arms out to sides. And if you're having any type of tingling, bend your elbows, and you might also need a lower roll. Now, keeping your knees bent is a great way to relax, or you can bring the soles of the feet together, knees wide. Yeah, so this is a great remedy for computer pose. So if you take computer pose a lot, you want to be able to do this. And you can see, you might need to look at what I'm doing. You can notice that the bolster is not down below my low ribs, it's below my upper, or I should say my mid ribs, where the tips of the shoulder blades can just point right to my heart. So staying in that pose for a few breaths here as we're winding down. And I am moving toward my screen just to make sure everybody's here and doing all right. Yeah, good. So you're lying back over this supportive roll. So you're able to have deep, full breaths here and open up across your chest. Wonderful. Good. Mm-hmm. Just a few more rounds here. Good. And again, bring your attention to the lower jaw and soften it down away from your top jaw. Relax the inner pelvic area, the hip flexor area. Now to come out of this, simply just move your left knee across towards your right and roll, 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 roll until your hands come down, and you can just push yourself up and then move your blanket out of your way and roll back down. Okay, so comfortable leg position so you can feel what happened for your upper body. Check it out. Wow. Again, actively move the work out of the upper traps and walk the lower trapezius muscles with the tips of the shoulder blades as bony landmarks pointing to your heart. That's right. Tack the tips of shoulder blades back behind you. All right, so feet wide. Let's just do a few windshield wiper motions here. And as we're winding down, let's stay over to the right side for a few breaths. Just keep your arms relaxed as they are. You can move your head gently from side to side. And perhaps settle looking over the left shoulder. Return your head to center, bring the knees up and over to your left, and look to the right. And then your head is back to center, your knees are back to center. Bring your knees in for a big hug. Now I'm laughing to myself, and you might be laughing along with me as I realize I said in the beginning we were going to do tree pose, and then somehow it got away from me, got away from us. So I'll invite you to take a tree pose sometime later today when you're feeling like you need a break. And you can just stand and do your tree pose. All right, so I'm a little embarrassed about that, but I think it's all okay. Yeah. It is what it is, as we say, right? All right, so hugging the knees up into your chest and then perhaps straightening the legs. You could even make a tree pose here with your left leg extended and your right knee bent. And then change that. So then the right leg is straight, left knee is bent, and then you change it. You can find a little rhythm there to loosen up. And then perhaps ending with a happy baby pose. Just even out the back and relax again through the jaw. And place your feet onto the floor. Enjoy a few deep breaths there. Now we're moving into our Savasana. Feel free to do as long as you like. So we'll be here for the next few minutes. As you relax your legs down, one more time, soften the jaw, soften the throat. Tack the tips of the shoulder blades under you. Actively relax your upper shoulder work. Soften your face and your jaw, your throat. Soften your eyes, your lips. The space between your ears. Good. Take this time to receive in Savasana. Deepen your breath. Again, feel free to stay longer or choose to complete Savasana now. And roll to one side on your way up to a seated position. Take your time. Whatever we do now is going to set ourselves up for the rest of our day. So sitting up tall, roll your shoulders up and back until you can tack the tips of the shoulder blades on your back. You can even give a little hug with the elbows in, just to feel that, and then relax that. Point the xiphoid process to your heart. So these bony landmarks support us, tailbone to the earth. And these bony landmarks give us guidance. We're grounded into the earth. We're supported through the heart space. And the head is held high. All right, and let's close our practice, hands together in front of the heart, and sound of Om one more time. Inhale. Om. And I bow head to heart and gratitude for all of you who've been practicing together during this time. We've been offering these classes for about 4.5 months, maybe 4 months. So we do continue on Body Kinetics website. You need to be a member from here on to participate at this time of day in this class. All right, so I hope you'll consider that membership. And if you want to be in touch with me, and I am not in touch with you via emails, I haven't sent one out in a while, but please do give me your email. And you can also find me on Facebook. So I teach on Facebook Monday and Friday. And that Friday one might turn into more of a Zoom, but for a little while I'm going to do both. And I know Pam is going to help me with that. So we're going to get that going soon. And thanks everyone so much. I'm going to end the recording and then feel free to stay on. Namaste.